Notre Dame earned an impressive road win over Pittsburgh, beating them 37-15 with two total pick sixes in this game, one thrown by CJ Carr, one thrown by Mason Heichel. I was fortunate enough to switch my prediction from Pittsburgh pulling off the upset to Notre Dame winning. In my preview and prediction video, I did pick Pittsburgh to win. A few days after that, I thought that was probably a pretty foolish decision. Notre Dame's the better team. Notre Dame, when they lose, if rarely, it's when a team's more talented than them or it's a really sleepy spot, and this Pittsburgh game was neither of those. So I switched, picked Notre Dame to win. If you doubt me, you can look on my YouTube community post. So, well, I'm not going to say that I was right here because I didn't make a video explaining how I thought the game was going to go after my switch. I did avoid looking like a total idiot. With Notre Dame, I think they are one of the few teams that can win it all. Would I favor them to win it all? No. Do I think that they are a top 2 team and only behind Ohio State, as some say? No. But what I do think is that the defense has made legitimate improvements. They are capable of beating up on most offenses, and their defense is at least competent now. It seems like the early struggles in the year have either been fixed, or this is a defense that does really good against weaker competition and just folds up a little bit against the tougher, better, more talented teams. One thing I can say is Jeremiah Love is incredible. CJ Carr is still a redshirt freshman with things to work on, but overall he is very good. And this is Mike Denbrock's best offense with Notre Dame. It is a better offense than last year's unit. I like to see improvement from teams after they lose as much as they did. And Notre Dame did lose a quarterback. They lost some of their receivers. They had a not a scheme change, but a philosophy change at quarterback, where Riley Leonard is a scrambling QB with an okay arm, and CJ Carr is a statue with a great arm. And despite that change, they've improved. And that is something that is to be admired, and that's a credit to Marcus Freeman and a credit to Mike Denbrock. And they coached circles around Pitt. Pitt couldn't pass. Pitt couldn't throw it in the ocean. Pitt only had 70 rushing yards. Notre Dame only had 175. Much of that came off the long run. That's how Notre Dame's rushing offense is, though. If you can limit their big plays, they can't really run the ball on you at all. But it's very hard for you to limit their big plays, as shown by that long Jeremiah Love run. Notre Dame had 212 passing yards. Pittsburgh had 149. A lot of that came in garbage time, though, where Eli Holstein came in, passed a touchdown. Notre Dame had 4 sacks. They had over 10 minutes of possession advantage. They actually lost the turnover battle because Carr turned it over twice. He threw a pick and another pick 6, basically spotted Pittsburgh 9 points out of their 15. That just shows how good Notre Dame's defense played and how, outside of mistakes, good Notre Dame played overall. It was an impressive win. And Notre Dame's playoff hopes are alive. They're well. I would say at this point, I know that any given Saturday, you never know, but Stanford on the road, I know it's on the road, but they're bad. Syracuse is bad. And Notre Dame knows they can't afford another loss. So I think Notre Dame at this point is probably going to win out. They're going to go to the college football playoff. And at that point, I think the season's a success no matter what happens in the playoffs. I know some people might say that's me lowering Notre Dame's expectations, but I always thought this year was going to be a bit of a rebuild year for them. And for them to just reach the playoffs with those first 2 games, being able to beat USC, being able to beat Pitt, as long as they compete in the playoffs, and with some of the youth they have on the team, they'll be really, really good next year. They'll be even better with Carr coming back. I imagine one of the running backs returns. Part of their offensive line will come back. They'll improve at receiver. They're bringing in Marcus Freeman's best recruiting class. This channel will make you a college football expert and help you enjoy watching games and make more accurate predictions. So what are you waiting for? Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment your thoughts, and watch the video all the way through so that you can get the full package. And check the description and pinned comment for more ways to help yourself and this channel. They'll use the portal if need be. They will be a force and one of the top teams in America again next year, but I think in a more solid, better way than they are this year, where I think they're a great team, but they may still have some questions. They covered the 12.5 line. Again, it was a very impressive win. It did not eliminate Pitt's chances, though, to get to the college football playoff. We'll talk about that in a second. But look at the quarterback comparison. Mason Heinchel entered this game with a lot of high hopes. He was playing really good football as a true freshman. Unfortunately, he averaged 3.8 yards per pass attempt. He threw an ugly pick six, had an 8.4 QBR, a 74.5 passer rating. Carr didn't do too well through the air either, but he did have an amazing pass where he was able to, with his cadence, bait Pittsburgh into being offsides, and he had an awesome, fade route down the sidelines, or a back shoulder throw on a fade route to Malachi Fields. Did pretty well on that pass, and that's an NFL throw. That's a beautiful throw where only Fields can get it. He caught it. It was a touchdown. He completed nearly 2 out of every 3 of his pass attempts. That's impressive. He had a really good day outside of those 2 pick sixes. And look, CJ Carr, a lot of people have talked about him as if he's, the second coming. And that's a bit unfair for him being hurt last year and him playing well this year. Like, he's not perfect, guys. The USC game, the Pittsburgh game, the first 2 games, in big games, he's a good but not great quarterback. And then outside of that, he's a supporting cast merchant. He's a wonderful quarterback, great future. I kind of take the middle position on him, where I imagine some people really hate him and think he's overrated. Other people probably think he's the second coming. I see that with a lot of people who, watch Notre Dame closely and watch his film, and he is really good. And next year, he probably will be to an elite quarterback. This year, he's still working through some things, though, and will need another preseason of development. But with Mike Denbrock in charge of that, you got to be confident in his future as an NFL player, an NFL prospect. Notre Dame just completely dominated Pitt in all series of the game. Pittsburgh is 7-3. They are 5-1 in ACC play. From here on out, they need to win out if they want to reach the playoffs. They were never going to get an at-large because they're 2 losses. But with how Georgia Tech has looked and with how Miami has looked, there is a chance for Pittsburgh to win out. And I am going to pick them to win at least one of these games. Maybe it'll age poorly. But I said they were going to win one of these games, backed off of it with Notre Dame last minute with my community post. But I'm pretty much obligated with how they play and with how Tech and Miami have played. They're going to win one of these games. They're going to ruin someone's season, whether that's Miami's, whether it's Tech's, just with how they play defense and with the fact that Notre Dame is at this point the highest power rated team they played. And I imagine, based on Narduzzi's comments, they probably didn't take this game as seriously as they're going to take the next 2. Like, Narduzzi is a cynic. So, not that if they took this game seriously, they would have won. Notre Dame showed that no matter how well Pitt played, they were always going to win this game. Point being, it wasn't a conference game. Pittsburgh, it was better off if they wanted to reach the playoffs to put their efforts elsewhere. I do think you're going to see them win one of these games. For Notre Dame, as we talked about earlier, why won't they win out? There's no reason to believe they won't win out. They had their first 2 games, they lost by an average of 2 points per game. Ever since then, they have won every game by 2 or more possessions. It's impressive. And they're going to beat Syracuse and Stanford by an average of 30 points per game, probably. So they're in the playoffs at this point. Good for Marcus Freeman. Good for Mike Denbrock, for Chris Ash. This is one of the better teams in America. And with their rushing attack and with their overall trench play, O-line and D-line, they have what it takes, I think, to win it all, given the bracket, given the health status of this team, and what level they play at in the playoffs. If it's at a high level consistently, or if it's up and down, depending on how all that goes, this team can hoist the trophy in January. Thank you for watching. It's my mission on College Football with Sam to make you the most informed, knowledgeable, and entertained fan as possible. We aren't perfect, but we hit the nail on the head more often than we hit our thumb with the hammer. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment, and if you're here, you've probably already watched the whole video. So thank you for doing those things.